Hello and welcome to the first YouTube video that I'm uploading. I'm going to be telling you about all that has happened over the past weekend when I went to work at a 10-hour puzzle marathon. I was visiting Trier over the weekend to help out the 10-hour Puzzathon in Trier. In a place called the Jugendherberge Römerstadt, organized by speedpuzzle.eu, as you might have already seen it on the live stream as well on their YouTube channel, which I am going to link in case you want to see the actual event. But yeah, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about how it was to be an organizer at the event, just how it is to participate in a marathon in general, and how the experience itself was from the organizer side. It was indeed very weird to not puzzle this time, but this was not the first event that I have organized where I didn't participate myself, so it was not really unknown to me. I did get a little bit jealous of everyone that was puzzling, but I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. Let's just start from the very beginning. So we drove off sometime in the mid-morning with my friend Steffi and my husband. The three of us were driving together, and we drove off a little bit earlier just so that we can stop on the way, because actually halfway to Trier from where I live, there is a Ravensburger outlet where we definitely wanted to shop a little bit. And well, obviously we did in the end. I ended up buying 2 puzzles, which I am going to show you now. So yes, these were the 2 puzzles that I couldn't resist getting. The first one of them is actually a Disney princess puzzle, which was, yes, one of these, kind of damaged goods that they sell for a way lower price than what they normally are. So normally this is 17 euros and I actually got it for 8, which I think is a bargain. Usually I get secondhand puzzles for that price. And yes, I haven't bought a Disney puzzle in ages and I love them. So I decided to treat myself to this one. And then the second one is actually another one that I have been eyeing for a very long time, which is this 3,000 piece Ravensburger as well. It is called The Forest Dragon Awakes, and as you can see, it's a lot of green. A dragon in the middle with some deer, getting to know each other. And it's all like a whimsical fantasy kind of scene, which is funny because normally I am not so drawn to these kinds of images. I'm not very big on fantasy in general, but it feels like a good challenge as a 3,000 piece puzzle. And also this table that I use for puzzling is actually just big enough for 3,000 pieces, literally for the centimeter. It is the right size. So I have been wanting to get some larger piece count puzzles, and this one was just perfect. And it was, yes, over half price off because it is slightly damaged as well. Pretty much the only damage that it has is a slightly pressed corner here. But there's a little dent in the box as well. But I ended up paying 20 euros for it instead of the 55 that it normally costs. So it was less than half price. Yeah, I couldn't really leave it there. So yes, that was the first stop of our trip. We spent a little bit of time at the outlet, looked around there, enjoyed the Ravensburger shop, and then we drove on to Trier. And then we walked over to a restaurant in downtown Trier where the German Association was actually organizing a puzzle meetup for whoever was there a day earlier and wanted to get together. Usually these puzzle meetups that are quite regular in Germany, people organize them all over Germany pretty much every weekend by now. These are not competitive events. They're literally just to hang out, to puzzle, get to know people. So it's a very good opportunity, and it was actually in a restaurant. So this time it was, extra casual. People could order drinks and food, have dinner, puzzle a bit, obviously, and just hang out. So a couple of people were using this to actually get together and practice for the upcoming marathon the next day, because there were many people who actually ended up, even though they were a friend group, maybe of 3 or 4 people, but they wanted to have more in the team because you could have 6 people in the team, which I'm going to tell you about later. So people ended up only meeting some of their teammates the day before if they were lucky. This puzzle meetup was actually a good opportunity for people to get to know each other a little bit and already get their puzzling hands in. We also completed a couple of puzzles, pretty much just one, which was a puzzle that was donated by an artist to the association, so we could just try out these new puzzles. And yeah, I ended up meeting some very good friends. We were hanging out the entire time. We had quite good dinner, and it was just a whole get together with like super friendly atmosphere, people hanging out, and yeah, a little bit of puzzling. We couldn't stay the entire time though, because we had to move on to the venue to help out Michelle and her husband to set up the venue itself, distribute the puzzles onto the tables, and then do some other prep work just to lay out everything that we wanted to have the next day ready, so we didn't have to go there super early, and pretty much just set up the little shop that we were operating there, which was partly a puzzle shop and partly a jewelry section that my husband was operating for me. He was selling my handmade stuff there. And also we wanted to set up some of the tables for the puzzle swap, which I'm also going to show you in just a minute. Well, what puzzles I actually got and how these puzzle swaps work, because it was a pretty good system and everyone seemed to be very happy with it. So we started setting up the room. Basically, each team had their own table with 4 chairs and 1 or 2 chairs on the side, just so that spectators and people who were just hanging out could also take their places. And 1 chair was set up on the side, which was specifically for the puzzles that we laid out in the order that they had to be completed in. So the very first puzzle was on the table, and second, third, and so on puzzles were in a pile next to the tables. This was actually a thing that Michelle came up with because we wanted to eliminate the part of the marathon that is super tiring for the organizers, in which you have to keep an eye on each and every table and see where they are in their puzzle and have their next puzzle ready and deliver it from like a drop-off area where all the puzzles are. And we wanted to avoid that. And this way, people could pretty much just keep puzzling and then just reach for the next puzzle once they were done with their own. This made it way smoother. We didn't have to like run back and forth. Apart from having, well, there were pretty much 2 or 3 judges who were walking around, because we wanted to make sure that everyone completely completes their puzzle and finishes it before they move on to the next one. Even though I don't think that any of the teams would have cheated in this sense that they would not finish a puzzle and just move on to the next one to like catch up to the next team or anything like that. Still, just to like keep kind of a system, the competitors were asked to always take a picture of their finished puzzle, so that even if one of the organizers is not there to supervise and validate the completed puzzle, they could show the finished picture, and then we could actually fill out the little paper that they had on their table and put their result in the system. Because we did have like an online result sheet that was showing pretty much the live results depending on how fast we could get the completed puzzles in there. So whoever was at home or who was watching the live stream could actually take a look at the website and see where their favorite team was in the competition. I do say competition because even though it is a marathon, and I don't think that the main aspect of a marathon like this is the competition itself, but it is a competition in the sense that the first 3 teams that were the fastest did get a prize in the end. So it does have a competitive aspect, but it's not the main highlight of the entire event. So most of the people that were there were puzzling, putting an effort into it, but they were mostly hanging out. And us as organizers wanted to highlight this as well. Already when the announcement was put out for the marathon, we were already saying that there's going to be music playing. We encourage people to circulate, to speak, to check in on anybody else's progress, and to socialize, because we wanted to keep this aspect, because that's what I think is the most magical in one of these marathons. People get together, and yes, they are puzzling for 10 hours straight, but we do want to kind of have like a social factor laughter in the entire event, and I do think that that worked out pretty well. So the atmosphere was quite good. The music was actually surprisingly nice. The participants were very international. I think there were at least 7 countries, but probably more, that were represented by people. We wanted to have some songs from everyone's countries so that there was like a little bit of internationality in the music as well. And it was pretty funny to see that when some of the music and some of the songs that were being played, some tables sang along, which was quite nice to hear, and it like added very much to like that relaxed, friendly atmosphere that we wanted to achieve. The venue itself was very good. It was very hot, and the room itself was also like isolating the heat very much, even though like we had almost all doors and windows open that we could keep. Somehow the air was not moving that much. Also, we had almost 160 people in a room, so it was hot and stuffy, but yeah, that didn't really slow anyone down. It didn't really ruin the fun. We also had a puzzle swap organized. Basically, it's a very simple principle. You bring puzzles in a specific number of pieces. So we were pretty much trying to encourage people to think in like piece count. So if you bring like a 1,000-piece puzzle and a 500-piece puzzle, then you can take 1,500 pieces in total, depending on what you want. You just wanted to have puzzles moved around, which worked out pretty well. People had to be fast because obviously the good puzzles were taken pretty early on. There were a lot of leftover puzzles, which are like old or super hard, or the picture is just not that appealing to anyone. So there were a bunch of leftover puzzles, but actually once we were saying that like the leftover puzzles can just be taken, even if you didn't bring that many pieces with you, most people took something. So there was definitely some switching going around. And I am going to show you what puzzles I got in the swap. Yeah, this is quite a pile. So you have to know that I did bring somewhere around 20 puzzles with me. So this is actually quite a nice reduction of puzzles that I managed. I needed to get puzzles out of the house desperately because there's just too many of them. So it was very much of a relief to get rid of that many, but these I just couldn't resist. So yes, the first one is actually one of these exit puzzles, which I have never tried before. So I'm pretty much looking forward to it. I love escape games. We do play some of these escape board games with my husband from time to time. Yeah, this is the puzzle version. I don't actually know much about how this is played, but yeah, I'm pretty excited to find out about it. The person, I can't remember who brought this puzzle, but they told me that the picture itself is not that nice to do, but I'm going to see. So this is the first one. Then I actually managed to get 2 of the yellow puzzles, which is a French brand, and I have actually had one of these already that I still haven't opened, that I won at a competition back in Hungary in March. But yeah, these are the 500-piece versions, and I'm super excited of trying these out. This is also not just a puzzle, so there's a board game involved in how it works. So this specifically, I think it has the 500-piece puzzle in it and then a couple of cards. So pretty much whatever you have on the puzzle turns into a game later on. And then this is the same. It's well, not exactly the same. I think you have to do the puzzle in sections and then it actually tells you a story. So each of these puzzles has some kind of a twist on them, and it just makes puzzling like into a new adventure. And the other thing is that this puzzle specifically with the labyrinth, it was in one of the EJJs. So it was an online competition puzzle. So I might actually try to speedrun this. I don't know. I'm not sure I want to. So it's not an easy one because as you can see, there's like all kinds of labyrinthy stuff and a lot of lines going around, so it's not an easy puzzle, but I might actually just try and enjoy the game itself. I'm going to have to see. Yes, so these are quite exciting for the future. The next puzzle that I got is actually a circle of colors, which is surprising, at least to me, because I have never seen this one. So I had no idea that this one exists. It's Astrology by Katja Perez from 2023. And I have never seen this before, so it's pretty exciting. I don't like circle of colors puzzles very much, and I'm not very strong with gradients, so this is a challenge puzzle, especially for me. But it has some of these like whimsical zodiac figures on them, so it's going to be, yeah, fun to do. It was worth a try. And then if I don't like it, I will probably swap this on, because yeah, it feels like one that could go around pretty well. The next one is a 500-piece Ravensburger, and this is called Sun and Sea. And if I'm not wrong, then this was used at the Dutch Nationals, but I'm not entirely sure all of a sudden. It has large pieces, which I usually try to avoid, but there's actually now so many of these motifs that I thought it would be worth a try. I also have a feeling that these puzzles might come out in competitions as well in the future, so it was time for me to try one out, and it was just there. So yeah, that's another swap that I got for myself. It's super colorful, very busy. It might actually be very fun to do, so I'm going to see later on. Then this next one is actually kind of a cheat swap, because the thing is, Michelle brought a humongous number of puzzles for the swap. I think she was saying somewhere around 50 puzzles, and this was one of them. But the thing is, when we were setting up the venue the day before, and she already put out the puzzles that she wanted to swap, and I saw this one and I was like, oh my god, I need this, like, please let me swap this already. So I took this out before the swap even happened. As you can see, it's Star Wars, Mandalorian, Grogu. I just couldn't resist. It's a lot of green, and I was told that the green is not as bad as it looks like, and I hope not. This is again a Kincaid puzzle. Thomas Kincaid is the artist. You might know his work from like all the Schmidt Disney puzzles, but this one is, yeah, from the Star Wars series, obviously. And yeah, I just really love Star Wars. So I was super excited to get this one, and a bunch of the other puzzles from the series are also on the back, and I'm kind of now set on getting some more of them because I like the images. I really enjoyed the Mandalorian series as well. So yeah, I'm looking out to get more of these. But for the start, Grogu is going to be pretty cool, and it's just adorable. So I really like this one. Then we're coming to the bigger piece counts. The next one, it was actually not me who got it, but my friend Anemi was looking at the swap, and she knew that I am looking at larger piece counts and I like busy puzzles. So she kind of took it for me, which I am very happy about, because yes, this is exactly the kind of puzzle that I like. As you can see, it's super busy. It's an Amy Stewart, which pretty much every puzzler that is like into the art and knows a little bit about the artist, they know about Amy Stewart, who has like a very recognizable art style. So you can always recognize these super busy images with a lot going on and just fun and colorful. And on 2,000 pieces, it's going to be like also very nice to see. As you can see, it's like animals from like different continents. There's like especially like an African section. There's also the American section, and also like Arctic and sea life. So yes, and jungles as well. Animals from around the world. It is actually called... There's actually no English title on the side. I wonder where this is actually from, where this was produced. It was made in Germany. Großartige Tierwelt, which is like magical animal kingdom or animal world. And yeah, so Anemi got this for me, and I'm very happy that she did. I'm going to be having a lot of joy with this puzzle for sure. I don't think it's going to be taking super long because of like the very distinct sections that I think you can sort, but then the business makes it a little bit challenging. So we're going to have to see how this one goes. And then the last one that I got from the swap is this one, which I was kind of debating if I actually want to get it or not. Also a 2,000 piece puzzle, as you can see. Somehow I got a very like Ravensburger heavy swap round this time around. But yes, this is also a Ravensburger, and it's 4 seasons. Like, I think super well sortable. It's the same, yeah, same landscape, different seasons. We're going to have to see. I am trying to as I was saying before, I am trying to focus a little bit more on like gradient skies and like blocks of color, because I'm not super good at them, especially when I have to speed puzzle them. And I think this puzzle is going to be like a very good practice for that, because there's so many of these very recognizable blocks of color. So yeah, once I get around to this one, I'm going to get to practice that a little bit. I'm actually super happy that I managed to reduce the amount of puzzles, and then these puzzles are also not going to stay with me, I think. I think I'm going to swap them on, or yeah, just give them away to people, whoever likes them. That's pretty much the plan. So the swap was going on pretty much the whole day. It was not really supervised, but the puzzle people can be trusted. So it's like not like someone is going to go there and pick up like 40 of them and then run for it, because everyone brought something, then they took some with them. So yeah, they didn't really need any control. The swap was just going on in like a separate room where the puzzle shop was as well, and people could hang out. There were some people who were like bringing in puzzles later during the day, so there was always something to find, and it was a good side program for the entire day. But then let's get to the marathon itself. Now, I don't have all the puzzles from the marathon because we actually divided the 12 puzzles between Michelle and myself, so we could test them out ahead of time. And I did these 5 and Michelle did the rest. So she did some of the 500-piece puzzles and a couple of the 1,000-piece ones. And yeah, because we wanted to test the puzzles beforehand so that we can kind of like get a feeling of how difficult they are, so that we can create an order of the puzzles in a way that there's always some challenge, but we don't have like the hardest puzzles right after each other. So yeah, we set up this order based on the times that we did in solo. So we tried to speed puzzle each of these, and I can tell you that some of them were very painful from these as a solo puzzle, and some of them were very, very fun. But that's how pretty much we came up with the order of puzzles that had to be completed. So there were 12 in total that the teams had to get through, and in case someone was super fast, which did happen, there was a 13th surprise puzzle that only those got that completed all 12 of the previous puzzles. It was also possible for each team to skip one puzzle, just to provide an opportunity for less experienced teams to skip something that they feel like is super hard. Now, the skipped puzzle was not truly skipped in the case when they got through all the rest of the puzzles, because you did have to complete that before the bonus puzzle. But for those that didn't make it until the very end, it was a skipped puzzle. So the 3 brands that we used at the marathon were Cherry Padsy, Schmidt, and KS Games, of which I don't have any copies. Michelle was doing those, and then I selected some puzzles from the rest of the batch that I actually wanted to bring with me, but we completely forgot about taking them. So they are still in Trier. I only have these with me. These are the ones that I did in solo as we were preparing. So the list of the puzzles you can actually see on the speedpuzzle.eu website, along with the results and all the puzzles that the teams were completing, the piece counts, so you can find out a little bit about the event results on the website. 10 hours actually goes by quite fast. I think it goes by faster if you are actually puzzling throughout that time. For me, it sometimes felt like a very long time, but also because I was just running back and forth the entire time. There was always, especially once it got rolling, after like the first hour there was not that much happening, because obviously people were starting their first puzzle. But then, because there were delays, the teams were finishing their puzzles at different times. There was just always a table that was finishing their puzzle and needed verification so that they can move on. And then once an organizer actually comes around to the table, you can show the picture and it can be put onto your paper that you are done with the puzzle. So this actually made it way easier for us as organizers to move around, because there was no stress. So we didn't really have to run to a team. We could stay a little bit longer with one team, see them finish, and then move on to the next one. And they also didn't have to worry about us actually getting there. So it was more comfortable both from organizer and competitor or participant side as well. Then pretty much once the 10 hours were over,
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, start!
it just came to the award ceremony where we rewarded the 3 fastest teams that have completed the highest piece count. And here it was actually pretty exciting because the team from the Czech Republic plus Slovakia actually were like very much in the lead from the very beginning. So they were ahead and they were just crushing it the entire time. They were smashing each and every puzzle and they were very much ahead. I think they were comfortably ahead of each and every team, including the second place team, right until the very end. And then with the last puzzle, which was the SpongeBob, and the bonus puzzle, they actually seemed to slow down a little bit. They ended up having to shape sort a bit. And yeah, that somehow ate up their time. They might have also gotten a little bit tired by the end. But the big advantage that they had the entire competition was actually eaten up by the last puzzle. And the second place team got super close to them. So much so there was only 5 pieces separating the first and second place. So it had the 10 hours gone on a little bit, the second place team might have taken over, but we're not going to find out about that ever again. But yes, the first place team was from the Czech Republic and Slovakia. There were 5 of them in the team. So the second place team was from Germany with 6 people, and the third place team was also from Germany, and I think there were 5 of them. So the first place team was how to lose a piece in 10 hours, which was very lovely, and they have actually brought a love fern with them. Whoever knows the movie, which is How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. So whoever has seen the movie knows what the love fern is. But they had a plant with them the entire 10 hours. They were smashing it very much. They were super fast from the very beginning. We were actually panicking at one point a little bit of what happens if they complete all 13 puzzles with like so much time to spare that it makes sense to start another puzzle. But yeah, they didn't. They thankfully kind of didn't make it. Because we didn't prepare any more puzzles. So that's pretty much how the competition went. And then the prizes, which I still wanted to talk about a little bit because it's like kind of close to my heart. Michelle actually let me be creative about the prizes. There was a little bit of discussion about what prizes could be given after the competition. But in the end, we ended up, well, Michelle decided on this one, which I made, along with the help of my husband. He made the wooden parts. This is actually a prototype, so this is the one that we put together so that we can show like what it's going to look like. But I was very happy with them in the end, and I was very much like trusting the cheerleader effect in the sense that like when you see them in the group, they look very, very good, and they did. So like the prizes were quite beautiful, I think. So yeah, so that's pretty much how the puzzle marathon went. It was super atmospheric. It definitely got me even more hooked on marathons, and I can't wait for the next one, which is going to be, yeah, very cool because as with August coming to an end, once Worlds is over, there's going to be a little bit of a pause, but then from October onwards, I'm actually going to 3 marathons until the end of the year, maybe 4. So there's a lot of marathons coming, and I almost like them more than regular competitions because you get to puzzle more, it's way more relaxed, the atmosphere is completely different. So if you see a marathon happening in your area, I can definitely encourage you to go and visit one because it's just a very special experience. From what I have heard from the participants as well, they had an extremely good time and they are really looking forward to participating in a marathon again, which is exactly what we wanted to achieve. Like this was the very first marathon that has happened in Germany. There is a second one in planning, which is going to be in Aschheim. It is actually organized by the German Association. So that is going to be happening in November. I think it's already booked out, but there are still people looking for teams. There are going to be a lot of marathons still happening, and I'm really looking forward to each and every one that I am going to go to. I'm probably going to put together a video of those as well. If you would like to find out more about marathons or just see a bit of the experience, just hit subscribe and you will probably hear about them from this channel in the future. And yes, thanks so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed hearing about the puzzle marathon, the Puzzathon in Trier in August. Thanks so much for watching and see you in the next video.